Fast forward in come our channel you so AGH Politics Avenue. Podcast or set training because make headlines na jembre na EDB Akroma e wo hade de nya ho braksem ye koyen sim. Ono ye koyen sim magaram ti ho sensem ya na me okasai water turbidity level no onua enye kra akse kra na we see na miracle aboaje enso etimi abawrem abra wo jemre e wo eye news fast so e wo Joy News or check say enkane NPP amanyoko ni de na ensuo no na eniti pa na sisi ade uba his excellency John Dramani Mahama preso dia ene ensuo no ene agye nsema enya asem koto akra na kwan be so na mufa so a omu ekon se de be ye betimi aboa ema yensu nsem no etimi afa ntuma pa efra papa yi enya abotre.
Emergency is done in consultation with the Council of State. And also you have to come to Parliament. I'm sure the president is being briefed, but I will favor declaration of security zones because declaration of security zones will also deal with the emergency situation of the matters. It's assumed developmental proportions, but when you declare security zones, you can't enter the area. But you see, declaration of a state of emergency, you affect the lives of persons who have no business dealing with the activity. Movements are restricted, economic activities are adversely impacted. So compartmentalize the areas and declare them as no-go areas, security zones. Simplicity. It's a better alternative to the blanket imposition of a state of emergency for me. Yeah.
Let me bring in the.
Council, I thought I would just address a few of the issues.
Hold on.
You had
hold on for me. So Erastus Sasaredonko is supplying me some quick information about the turbidity levels. He says that the turbidity level at Dabuasi went to 14,000 in 2024. The latest figures put it at 9,000. But listen to this. That of a thing has increased dramatically from about 18,000 to 21,000.
Yeah. Because of
what?
Yeah, because of about a month ago, when the blue water gas left the area, some armed men moved in and they worked overnight. So within 2 weeks, they had caused further pollution to the water. So just last week, the security went back to drive them away. So yes, he's right that even though it was within last 2 months or so, it increased from 18,000 to 21,000 because of these activities that, in fact, Savinjemfi reported on this a couple of days ago. So I agree with that report.
I have some information.
But it will better. I'm sure one day.
So on your screen, you can see the water quality index of major rivers in Ghana from 2005 to 2014. Yeah, we acknowledge those. We want the current figures. The current figures, and my producers are helping us to get the full picture so we can better inform ourselves. The current figures, which has led the Ghana Water Company to, make complaints and say that they need how much increment in quick,
Council,
very quick.
Yeah,
yes.
I know, but Council, so that we don't lose track
quick,
of the Council, you see, I keep hearing the NDC use Professor Frimpong Boateng's report as a basis to bastardize another than Akuffo all the time, and they do it with a lot of misrepresentation. Let's admit, if the NDC insisted that we should work with the Professor Frimpong Boateng's report, then Council, let's do so. I have always had my concerns and issues with that report. But if they insist, then let's do so. Go to page 13 of Professor Frimpong Boateng's report. You know what it says? Professor Frimpong Boateng says that, and I'll just move to that paragraph. The NDC was given an advantage in terms of access to resources from mining. This is because there are far more NDC people engaged in illegal mining than NPP members in the region. This is in Professor Frimpong Boateng's report.
So
please wait.
Yes.
Council, leader, when you were speaking, I didn't speak. I beg you.
Well,
I didn't speak. Council, you see, if you are to take Professor Frimpong Boateng's report and work with it, then the NDC have no business being in office. Because the report indicts the NDC than even the NPP. The report is clear. It says that there are far more NDC people engaged in illegal mining. It's on page 13 of the report. That is it. So I don't know why the NDC think that they can just pick Professor Frimpong Boateng's certain paragraph and when another Akuffo with it.
And as we speak today, investigations have been done, including by the Fourth Estate.
Yes.
That prove that NDC tax have taken over even proper concessions because they have come into power.
There's nothing like NDC. No, there's nothing like NDC tax.
Leader, why?
No.
Let me speak.
I disagree. No, I speak in reference to something.
Council, today I need protection.
I disagree with what he just said. There's nothing like NDC tax. If tax have gone to a place to engage in a criminal activity, by all means, let them be.
It's okay.
Let the law
let me
be
make
applied.
my point. I beg you.
But NDC hasn't got tax that it deploys.
You can have your 10.
No, we don't have NDC
You can have your 10. I beg you.
And I wish that you can withdraw.
You can have your 10. I beg you.
Okay, so the reason I will not withdraw that is that it's standard. We know some of them, and our investigators identify some of these people.
Thompson, with all due respect, which are member of the NDC.
Let me show you
this.
Why are you doing this to
No,
September 17,
you can't say that
September 17, 2015.
NDC doesn't breed tax.
The Fourth Estate did this story. NDC Group admits leveraging political power for illegal mining. Days after the Fourth Estate exposed how a group aligned with the National Democratic Congress forcefully took over a licensed mine in Prestea Huni Valley with the support of national security. An official of the party has confirmed the involvement of the Member of Parliament for the area. At a press conference in response to the Fourth Estate's publication, Mohammed Awal, the NDC communications officer for the constituency, told the media that the lawmaker had done nothing wrong. Again, the NDC Prestea Huni Valley communications officer claims that the MP's actions was about, quote, restoring sanity, ensuring rightful owners reclaim their operations, preventing further exploitation. So, Mr. Awal's justification for the seizure of the concession belonging to RMG Mining was that prior to the New Patriotic Party coming to power in 2016, the mine had been operated by Task Mining. But through political machinations, officials of RMG snatched it.
Council, I beg you. Let the leader.
So, what does the report say?
It's okay. The viewers have heard. Let me speak. So, if Professor Frimpong Boateng's report is what they want us to work with, then indeed, it is established in that report that there are far more NDC people involved in illegal mining.
That's the point you have made.
Yes. Now, he spoke about the fact that they have introduced community mining and all of that, and Akuffo didn't do it. That's a falsehood. Indeed.
No.
Akuffo, leader, you can't do this to me. But I noted all the things you said.
I didn't say. I said Akuffo introduced another form of community mining. We are introducing community mining. What you introduce has a different name. I didn't say Akuffo didn't do it.
But I beg you, if you interrupt every point I make, it would destroy.
No, so
I actually need to move on.
No, but he hasn't given me the chance to speak. Please, I beg you. Please don't interrupt me again. Community mining was introduced by Nana Addo Akuffo. So if they say they've introduced community mining, again, it buttresses my point. They've done nothing new. Number two, he says that because the river guards have arms under their regime, it's different from the river guards from Akuffo. That's a complete falsehood. He's my leader, so I won't say it's a lie. It's a complete falsehood. Akuffo Boa is here. Graphic Online is here. He says, and I read, Mr. Boa said the guards, though trained by Ghana Navy, are not armed personnel. Rather, they are young people from riverine communities who have been trained to detect and report galamsey activities. Now, he also says that Amewu brought some 500 excavators to Accra and they go missing. You see, Honorable Dafeme really doesn't understand the galamsey situation and he's still politicizing it, forgetting he's in power. And this will not benefit him. May his soul rest in peace. Honorable Murtala Mohammed sat on TV3 barely 3 months into their office and reported that 40 excavators that they brought are missing. 40. If 40 are getting missing in 3 months, do the calculation and find X. How many will get missing in 4 years? Let's move on to the state of emergency. He says that the state of emergency may not necessarily be an issue because, the situation is there. Council, You have the Lands and Natural Resources Minister calling for a state of emergency at the time when the situation was better than now. See, I have an image that I've asked your producers to share if they can share with us. The Water Resources Commission every year actually does what they call Water Quality Index. And Council, guess what? The Water Quality Index is more comprehensive than the turbidity level. Because that one, it looks at 4 other issues. If you can project it for me, 4 other issues. The turbidity level is just one of the elements that feeds into the Water Quality Index. In the year 2010, before Galamsey started the way it is in Ghana, when NDC was in power, look at the water quality in this country. All the 40
Galamsey
water areas, were fairly good water. Council, you say it. The orange one you see. So under 2010, we did not have any poor quality water. We did not have any grossly polluted water. We have fairly good water. Between 2010, when Galamsey started in the manner it is now and the NDC, to the time John Mahama left office in 2016, guess what? We had 15 of our water bodies only fairly good. 25 of them had become poor water quality. Within 6 years, 25 of them had become...
2024,
no, hold on.
The 15 went to 29.
By 2024, Nana Akuffo had improved the water situation to the extent that the fairly good water, which was just 15, were now 29. And the poor quality water, which were 25, had reduced to 10.
Thank you. Hold on. Thank you. That's where you stop. Dr. Tia Champong, thank you for joining us. And I've just seen you sharing with us, flying in the skies and taking footages of very bad, circumstances as a result of Galamsey. Talk to me. Don't you think, as the UTAG, GMA, the Catholic bishops are saying, the president's response now is profoundly concerning, and this is a national emergency, and that the action needed is not what he's talking about, because we have done all of this and it's not yielded much or anything at all?
All right. Good morning, Samson. Good to see you and everyone. I hope you can hear me.
We can hear you.
And clear. Okay, so that picture actually was a picture I took last October on a flight from Takoradi to Accra. And as soon as we took off, you can see the Pra River around the Shamat side. And this is literally the river becoming like, mixed with Milo or tea, as people would say in Ghana. And for me, it did underscore the point about the crisis situation that we find ourselves in. And this particular image went several miles before you now see the water or the sea beginning to actually turn blue. So I agree with you, and then the point that have been expressed that, look, we are in a crisis situation, and of course, things have to change. But interestingly, I have been on this same platform, Samson. We can go back to October last year. I think it was the 12th or the 20th of October last year in the lead up to the election when Galamsey became a hot or a topical issue. And again, at that point, we had the likes of UTAG, we had the Bishops' Conference, we had Kenashigbe's Media Coalition on Galamsey. We had even Fixed the Country and all other different groups insisting and pushing for some form of serious action that would help, address the problem. And in the lead up to that, if you look at the manifestos that both parties actually presented, Galamsey featured prominently as a campaign item. And then I'll come to some of the things that the NDC said they would do, and then of course what the NPP also said, that they would do. A year ago when I appeared on your platform, and I will answer your question, when I appeared on the platform, I did indicate, right, probably 3 points. One, that almost 40% of the gold output that we have in Ghana comes from the small-scale mining sector. And probably even now with Gold Board and all the other interventions taking place, that number is probably gone up. Number two, 70% of all small-scale mining activities are not licensed. And even amongst those that are licensed, we are not even too sure, the mining practices that they, are using, right? And that is further adding or compounding the scale, of the problem, right? So you begin to see quite clearly that we have a major problem on our hands. And this is not something that just started just today. We need to do something different. We need to do something you may call sort of radical, right? Where I sort of disagree a little bit in terms of the state of emergency, because we have had similar interventions in the past. Dennis and the likes talk about Operation Vanguard. We've had Operation Halt, where you had these militarized sweeps into different mining enclaves, different mining sites. But then as soon as the troops leave, as soon as the security forces leave, you then have the miners and the people going back to engage in the same sort of operation. So I think fundamentally, if you impose a state of emergency, or to even borrow Roxanne's words, a security zone, right? That is just going to be a short-term solution. It doesn't fundamentally address what I call the supply side issues that is actually driving, right, the menace, right? Because again, we've done a number of these interventions. It's not really work, right? So my sort of difficulty, and in a sense also the solutions I think could be done. Number one, for me, I think the first thing is, let's repeal that LI, the 2462, right? That is part of the problem. The LI that gave government, and to that extent, the Mineral Commission and other bodies, the authority to license all these manner of people to actually go and mine in forest reserves. That is unconditional. That is something that even when the NDC was campaigning in opposition, they made statement to the effect that when they come into power, they will repeal that. It is 9 months down the line, and we need to see some action related to that.
Yeah, very surprisingly, surprisingly, they did a 360-degree, turnover, and decided not to repeal it, but rather amend it. In the NPP administration, in the dying days of the administration, they had started the process to repeal that law because of the pressure that was coming from the public. It is now that the government is now yielding to the pressure to repeal that act.
So then let's keep up the pressure, because yes, you're right. I know in the last days they tabled that to Parliament, and then when the new government came, not much was done on that. But for me, it's absolutely imperative. This is a low-hanging fruit, both in terms of the signaling and showing that really we are serious about addressing this problem. My second point in terms of what can be done beyond just a ban is the idea, or that now you have Gold Board being the entity responsible for aggregating all the gold within the small-scale mining sector.
Right.
But very importantly, we need to ensure that every gram of gold that Gold Board is buying is actually not Galamsey gold, right? So to that extent, how are we putting in place systems to ensure that, for example, there's traceability, that you have these licensed cooperatives?
Yes, the Gold Board Act actually has that. So it's an imperative on the Gold Board to ensure traceability. And as the president said, when he said what is being taken against him because he didn't say those rightly, they are going to now implement that process. We understand that they are working with a certain private organization to begin to implement the traceability process.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is, for me, is very, very critical because, both in terms of how you assay the gold, we need the chain of custody. We need to be able to prove that, look, at the end of the day, it is not Galamsey gold that is entering into, right, the the formalized systems. Again, I say this because if you even look at the Bank of Ghana's statistics, right, recent ones on the economy, right, our total export for the year from January to August is about $18 billion. For all of last year, it was about $12 billion. Now, if you break that number down, gold exports alone for January to August is $11.2 billion. So roughly about 63% of our total export is coming from gold, right?
Okay.
Both small scale and then, the other large scale mining sector. So it is very, very important for me that we ensure that is done. Number three, and let me make two more points in terms of what can be done, is the attempt to sort of formalize the mining or these illegal mining activities. So in both the NPP and NDC manifestos, you see some mention of what they call green artisanal mining zones, right? These cooperative models where you are geofencing the concessions, you're giving them certain equipment to be able to extract the gold in a more sort of environmentally friendly manner and all of that. But the final point that I want to make, beyond all these things,
we ayen sama horo tim ko so channel no so mamno so jemre e wahada sane so badi no e dia dumbi edum yeni onia emun remoi na yen so mo kwan so kra GH Politics Avenue.